Hi Pisces, this is your general tarot reading for Pisces Sun, Moon and Ascendant Rising Sign for the month of May. And Pisces, I hope that you followed the advice last month and really dug deep and went far into your wonderful, wonderful place inside you that has all those hidden treasures of your big dreams, your big imagination. And I hope you found something nice there, because this month, whatever it is that you found in April, is now going to be communicated out to the world for all to hear, for all to see, and for all to learn from you about how this thing works. And you're probably now saying, oh my God, I'm not ready for this. Okay, I have a few ideas. There are things I want to do, and I'm still at the kind of ideas phase and the dream phase. Nobody told me that next month I'd have to share it. Nobody told me I'd have to become a public speaker like within 28 days, but yeah, you do. And you're saying, I'm not ready. Well, apparently you are, because the universe seems to have decided that all those big plans and dreams that you have, Pisces, are now ripe and fully ready to begin sharing. I hope that doesn't scare you, Pisces. And I hope you have confidence with that. Sometimes I know Pisceans often don't have the confidence that other people have. And it's a pity. It's a real pity, because other signs generally have lots and lots of confidence because they don't know a lot of stuff. But you know everything, you know deep stuff, and yet you don't have the confidence. So it's kind of a thing now in May that you're going to be working through and working on, because there's a bunch of energy in the house that's ruled by Mercury, the third house. Now, to explain how this energy is going to work, if you don't mind, Pisces, I'm going to tell you a little story. And the story is about the Greek god Prometheus, who you probably have heard of before. Prometheus, his name means forward thought. So he's a forward planner, thinks ahead. He's an aspect of Mercury that communicates things into the future, your dreams, your plans, your desires. And he was given the task of helping to dish out gifts for humans when they were first brought onto the earth. And certain gifts were given, fur, how to, catch animals, how to do certain things. They were quite basic gifts. And while they were being handed out, Prometheus stood back and he looked down upon humans and he said, what a life they have. This is not really much of a paradise for them. I mean, we're not giving them enough. We need to give them more. We've a bunch of stuff. There's two cards come out. The Sun, the Three of Wands, somebody who has big visions, laying them down there. And Prometheus said, the stuff we're handing out here, it's not acceptable. They need more. We can't expect them to live like that. But nobody would listen to him. They said, well, tough. We've handed out all that we're prepared to hand out. And he said no. And he watched as the days came. The Star, the Five of Wands, the Five of Swords, the King of Wands, the Six of Wands. And Prometheus watched as the sun set and people were in the dark, under just the light of the moon. They were cold and they were hungry, and he said, this is just not okay. So what did he do? He was brave, because if he was caught doing this, there was going to be trouble. But he snuck into the smith god Hephaestus, into his forge, into his blacksmith workshop, and he stole fire. And he hid it, he concealed it in a fennel and the Four of Wands. And he snuck down and he gave it to the poor humans, because he said, you can't leave them like this. And he taught them how to use fire, and people radically changed. At night they could light fires, they were warm, they could cook the food that they were catching and growing, and they were happy. They were living a more contented life, and that made Prometheus very happy. But he was the only one that was happy, because it made Zeus, the king of the gods, extremely, extremely unhappy. Zeus, Jupiter. And as a punishment, Zeus captured Prometheus, and he did a strange thing that they all seem to do weird things in mythology. He tied him to a rock, and an eagle came every evening and ate his liver. And then the next evening his liver would repair, and then the eagle would do the same thing over and over and over again, as a form of torture, as a form of punishment for disrespecting the law of the gods and the law of human nature as defined by the gods. And it was only later when Hercules, the hero, the great hero, came, saw Prometheus and the predicament that he was in, and used his bow and arrow and shot the eagle, rescued him. So he was saved in the end by a hero. But Zeus again wasn't very impressed by this. 7 of Swords and the last card, Death. Zeus really doesn't like being challenged, this Zeus guy, Jupiter. And he decided to punish humanity for receiving the gift of fire that Prometheus brought. And he punished them by sending them the most beautiful gift they have ever seen, the beautiful Pandora, the first woman. And if you know the story of Pandora, she came with a secret. She came with, as we say, Pandoras Box. It wasn't actually a box, but she came with the box, and once Pandora's box was opened, all disease, famine, destruction, despair, poverty, all flew out. All the darknesses of this world flew out into the skies eternally for humanity to experience. But at the very, 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 very end, this is the Pandora card, which came out for your reading. There was the Star of Hope to remind people never, ever, ever to lose hope. Prometheus could have lost hope until Hercules came and rescued him. Humanity could have lost hope until Prometheus came and rescued them. And after Pandora came and released all these sprites and evils out to the world, everybody could have lost hope eternally. But they didn't, because hope can never be truly lost. And the reason why I'm telling you this story, Pisces, is that when your big dreams are now being brought out in May to share with the world, to communicate your fantastic new ideas, your genius ideas, because Uranus moving into Taurus is in this Mercurial Prometheus third house of sparks of absolute genius. When these ideas are brought out, you could be doing it out of a real Piscean place of trying to help people. But very often, people who've been doing it the old way don't like when something new comes along, so you might be challenged. And this in May is the beginning of your journey into being able to communicate your deepest plans, wishes and desires for the future, communicating them in a way where if anybody challenges you with a serious challenge, then you're able to stand up for yourself. You're able to continue communicating your truth without losing hope. In fact, not just without losing hope, but generating so much hope through this communication of your big dreams and ideas, that you entirely transform how you interact with the world from now on. Within 7 years, because this transit, Uranus and Taurus, in your house of communication, travel, trade, and business, is going to be there for 7 years. So you've this whole period of 7 years to develop this and to grow. But you'll get the first insight into it in May, the first spark, the ignition, the Prometheus fire is first brought to you in May. And that's really beautiful. And don't fear it. And don't be overwhelmed by it. Because here's what, before I come down to the cards, here's what we know. We know that some of your big dreams and ideas, which are sparked by genius and sent down via the gods, some of them are very out there because Pisces energy is out beyond where other people can see. And you're trying to bring something back like Prometheus to help them. And people don't often get it. They think you're too far out. Well, they're right. You are too far out. But because you're far out, you get to understand completely what they need. Because you've zoomed so much far. You've the biggest picture. I mean, Jupiter, Zeus, who punished Prometheus, was in the 9th house, and he's the big picture. But I think what made him so angry is that the Piscean energy is the 12th house, which is not just the big picture, but the frame and the wall and the building and the country that picture sits in. It's huge. So you can never fear whatever it is that you're bringing out to the world, your creativity and your identity, what you're bringing. Never fear doing it. And interestingly enough, Jupiter is retrograding in your 9th house. Jupiter retrograding in the house of the big picture, the house of the gods. They're going back. They're trying to fix something. And it's directly affecting you, Neptune in the 1st house. So it's like this big moment where you go square with the gods and say, you've given me this ability, this genius, this far out perception. Now you better let me use it. You better give me the ability to communicate clearly what I know so that other people can receive it. And you better allow me do it. So this is your moment where you're squaring off with the gods and winning. And winning. Anyway, Pisces, let's look down to the cards. So if you've seen my videos before, you know what I do. I bring the camera down and I show you the spread. But I had a little survey done on my Facebook page, She Bear Tarot, and I asked the people there what they'd like to see, and they want to keep the camera up here. So I have to go with that because I did ask. But I'm going to do a little bit of a compromise. Some people I know are learning tarot, and they said they wanted to see the spread because they wanted to see the correlation between cards and so on. So if that's you, Pisces, and you want to learn the big picture, then by now you should be seeing a little small overview of the spread while I keep the camera here and talk to you directly. I hope that's okay. So let's begin with the sun. And the sun is shining as we enter May in the 3rd house of communications. So this is a healing card. It's drawing all your attention to something. The Prometheus, bringing light. You're bringing light now to this area of communicating your ideas effectively. And it's being healed for you. And this is the card also of success. So it's a huge moment of everything that we've just spoken about. When fire comes, it brings more fire, because beside it is a fire card. This is the 3 of Wands, the one who is deeply inspired. And for a moment, he has to turn his back on the world. I think you have found that, Pisces, because the world doesn't always understand your genius. and your dreams and your imagination and your power. Power, 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 power. The world doesn't always understand it, so you make yourself small and hide. Because it's better to hide than be hurt, and to risk being captured and put on a rock so that an eagle can eat your liver. But in May, you're standing up. You have your own power in your hand. You're supported by the universe. You're supported by the gods this time. And the extra one, with the sun shining down. And the sun is acting like a light. He's lighting it up. He's lighting up your inspiration. He's lighting up this moment like him, where he's standing out looking on the horizon and saying, I can do this. I have places to go. I've people to meet. I've things to discuss. I've ideas to share. And I'm going to do it bravely and boldly. Sometimes with this card, there's an element of going out on a limb, going out far on your own, because he realized that other people just don't get him. So in May, you'll fully feel it, that you have to put this huge energy, which is this card, huge energy being handed to you, into doing something that others might fear doing. And again, I go back, Pisces, who often suffers from low confidence and low self-esteem, when you're lit up, when you're set on fire, you do things that nobody else would dare to do. If anyone was a true warrior, it's you. I mean, the next sign that comes after you is Aries, the sign of the warrior. Where do you think he learned how to do the things he does? I mean, he didn't lick it off the ground. He had to learn it somewhere. He learned it from you. The true genius who understands how to really give something meaningful to humanity. And beside it here we have the card of humanity, Aquarius card, 11th house card. You've got Saturn, Pluto and Mars in there for the first half of the month. You have all of that energy we've spoken about, the dreams, desires and wishes, the 11th house stuff. Energy is being brought to that. And like when Pandora opens the box and releases all the shadows into the world, you're going to be able to see hope where others can't. And whatever it is that you're doing, I'm talking very big picture here, but even in the smaller details of your life, having to get in your car and drive somewhere to publicly speak about selling something to somebody, or communicating with your lover, communicating with your family, something like that. In some of those situations, it might seem quite hopeless before. Well, in May, you've new hope to go out, repair, heal, and re-inspire and reignite new hope where things once looked hopeless, Pisces. I'm reading, it's like this emotion that's coming up as I'm reading. This is such a time for you. It's beginning. It's such a time for you to be able to express and fully explore the full extent of your genius, because Uranus is genius and he's the one sparking this whole month up. So what is your genius? What is your genius? Now here we have this card beside the Star of Hope. You're saying, I need hope because firstly, it's going to be a bit of a battle. It's going to scare me. I'm going to feel like that I have to fight my way through this, through communicating and inspiring others. It's not something I just do lightly. It's scary. I mean, Pisces, some of you can swing between very, very quiet and placid into being very, very talkative. There is a dichotomy sometimes in Pisces. And some of you who are more talkative, you can talk about anything to anybody. But the difference here now is, can you talk about your deepest dreams? Can you switch the subject from the script, the things that you're familiar with talking about, and can you go further and deeper and talk about those things without any fear and without fearing that you'll be met with disapproval. I mean, Prometheus didn't fear Zeus, the king of the gods. He didn't even fear him. And Jupiter this month is kind of forgiving you. He's pushing you on. And he's saying, it's okay, you're forgiven. Try it again. I'm behind you this time. So don't worry about that. If some of you are in competition with anybody, don't fear that. In the month of May, you seem to stand head and shoulders above all the competition. You're winning whatever it is that you need to win this month. But you've another 5, so yeah, I get it. These are cards of small victories, winning small battles. If you are in conflict with either yourself, because very often, Pisces, you can be in conflict with yourself, whether do I move forward, do I stay where I am, do I live in my comfort zone, or do I break through and follow my dreams? Battle with that and come out the other side as a victor, which we'll get to this card. And I mean, this is success also. Battle those inner demons and win a small victory. You don't have to be like the strength card where you go in and kill all the demons at once. No, May is only inviting you to have little battles, challenge small details in your life, in your perception, in your fears, just small ones. And win, get over them, have a small victory. And that small victory could come with this communicating your ideas. You don't have to do it all at once. You just have to do it bit by bit and step, step, step. It's about taking small steps to get small victories, Pisces. Now, beside that is the King of Wands. Yes, some of you could really be in a battle at the moment with a very fiery character. Somebody who possibly is a fire sign, that's a Leo, an Aries or a Sagittarius, that you could be locking horns a little bit with them. And you'll have little victories with them. You're pushing against them, it seems. And you're gaining small ground. You're gaining ground. So keep going with that. And on the other hand, this card, because it's sitting like this, it's saying, when you make these little victories in your life, when you fight these small battles in yourself and challenge other people's opinions, you're going to start feeling more empowered, more alive, more on fire. And I mean, you're a water sign, but yet the whole month of May is going to be quite fiery because it's electricity. You're going to feel that high, intense electric current running through you. And go with it. Use it as a source of power. Use it as the first, when you have your first little mini victory, use it to imagine how it's going to be when it ends, which is you sitting on a throne, fully confident, and he's still looking out into the future. Some even say that this card is like Prometheus. Him and the Page of Wands are very Promethean because they hold the spark of life, the stick, the Prometheus fire, and they conquer it. So everything we've just spoken about, after having these little victories, you begin to gain more confidence in how to win. And this is you winning, the first moment where you're recognized for the things that you're doing, your dreams, your aspirations. People are going to see them now in May when you communicate them, and they're going to like it. I mean, look, even the horses looking back at him, he's that impressive. They're throwing laurel leaves at him. They're throwing crowns at him. It's a victory. It's a parade. So it's more than a victory. It's what happens after the victory. It's the celebration. And you will be celebrating your bravery to push that unique and unusual thing that you do that mankind isn't even ready for. They weren't ready for Prometheus's fire, but yet when they received it, it changed everything. Right now, they're not ready for what it is that you can bring, but when you bring it, they can't imagine their life without it. And it could be very simple. We discussed this last month, Pisces. You don't have to change everything, but you just have to change your corner of the world. You have to change somebody else's world for the better. You have to bring your gift, whatever that is, Whatever your special, unique, divinely given, talented, your spark of fire, bring it out. And it'll come out with like a big declaration. Fire, fire, fire. Wands, the sun, the star, fire. All your cards are fire. You're getting brave. Mid-month, you're going to declare. You're going to declare how much you... This is a declaration of love. We say this is Venus in Aries, when love meets boldness, when love meets daring and bravery. And for some of you, let's step back a minute. Some of you could be making big declarations of love. This card is coming up for a lot of the signs this month because we know in May, in the Northern Hemisphere at least, we're beginning wedding season, and it's the card of weddings. Some of you could be getting married, renewing your vows, or being invited to a wedding to somebody that you really love and care about, you know. And it's a celebration. If you notice, we're moving, the first half of the cards are interesting, but the second half, there's more celebration in them. So it's like as you get stronger, moving into your full gift, your full potential, and making peace with this higher part of yourself, you're able to celebrate it. And then what? Then what? You have the world, a goddess, Inanna. This is Inanna stepping through the 7 gates of hell. But this is her coming back. She's been to hell and back. And this is her first emergence, the first moment she steps out into this new world, the brave new world. And she's free. The reason why she's naked is that she had to pass through each gate and release an item of clothing and jewellery, which symbolizes releasing baggage, psychological dependencies. I mean, if you're walking somewhere, you depend that your clothes are going to cover you up for modesty. You depend that your wedding ring is going to show that you're married. You depend on yourself to look beautiful when you enter a room, you know, or not in some cases, but there are certain things you take for granted. This is the point. You cover and conceal things up, and you take for granted that that's who you are now. But Pisces, you can't conceal things anymore. You have to reveal, like Inanna, to come back out of hell, renewed, not hiding, and full power, because she returns with the full power of the secrets of the underworld, something that you'd be very familiar with, dark hidden secrets. In a more literal case, some of you could be finding out dark hidden secrets about other people. And because there's a lot of energy in your 3rd house, Pisces, of communication, I need you to be very careful with something. I need you, if you find out now lots of dark hidden secrets about other people, I want you to be very, very gentle and very kind, as you really are in your soul. Not to be swept away by this new ability to communicate and people are suddenly listening that you tell other people's secrets. Please don't do that. It's not you. It's not your energy. You care about people. So don't get swept away by this energy and end up revealing far too much. That could end up hurting you and other people. The next card coming out is the Knight of Wands, beside the world. Once he makes this great transformation where he stops hiding and stops concealing his real inner truth, he's off. He's off and running. He's ready to go. He has places to go, people to see, things to do, and he's doing it with a great sense of fire and passion. This is like the energy of somebody, you know, when the horse is behind the gate and they're frothing at the mouth, they're ready to go, let me go, the gate opens and it's boom, gone. See, the horse is rearing, it's just absolutely desperate to go. And that's the energy for you, Pisces, as we're leaving May. You're fully inspired. You see, the month has been ignited, it's been lit up by the Promethean fire, and you're still feeling it towards the end of the month. Beside that, we have the 7 of Pentacles. the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords is all about making plans, making schemes, drawing up new ways to move on in your life. And make those some good plans. Take the energy of the month and make it really work for you. If you have to sit down with a pen and paper, Pisces, with, a nice glass of wine or something like that some evening, and chillax and, make yourself cozy and see at the end of the month what you've learned and start making a strategy on how to develop that further into the next 7 years of your life. And keep a journal. This is very important. Third house is all about writing. For those of you who want to write something, write a thesis, write a book, write something beautiful. Your poets, your songwriters, your dreamers, your abstract. Write. Keep a journal even if you don't want to go into publishing, which is very possible for some of you, because the 9th house is publishing, and Zeus says he's forgiven you and he rules the Jupiter in the 9th house. You could be doing that. So make your plan in May to gather all your thoughts, write them down, and make a good, clear plan. This guy tiptoes around things, though. He's not fully confident in his plans and schemes yet. So towards the end of the month, don't fear it. Don't tiptoe around anybody or anything in your world. Embrace it. Embrace it. But what is he tiptoeing around? See, this is interesting because he's taking everything that he had, say, invested. He was investing in logical thought, logical plans, strategies, and he's turning his back and walking away from death, 8th house stuff. And this death represents deep transformation. It represents a lot of 8th house things, which are shared resources between you and a partner, perhaps, for those in a relationship. Investments, even if it's an emotional investment. You're walking away from something that has been deeply emotionally and financially like a big investment. And you want to see it either transformed or disappeared. You want to let it die away. And you realize that in order for some of the things in your life that need to go, that have passed their sell-by date, in order for them to really disappear once and for all out of your life, you really are going to have to make plans and make a long-term vision for your future. You have the long-term dreams and ideas. Now make that financial. Make a long-term plan to support that. Some of you are walking away from transforming your career, from transforming your very existence, the very way of living. You're taking the plans that you had and you're walking away because you recognize that it's empty. There's nothing in it. And at the end of the month, you'll have the bravery and the confidence to walk away from like a precipice, like at the edge of a cliff that's empty. Don't ever feel empty. Ever, ever, ever. Don't ever feel hopeless. This is hope. And your whole card reading and the whole month of May is just ignited with energy and fire and luck and forgiveness from the gods. And in fact, it's you who should be demanding that they apologize to you. And I think both they forgive you and you forgive them. It's kind of a nice balance. So it's a wonderfully, wonderfully deep and forgiving month. It's a wonderful month for you to challenge certain things that you had always held true, that you were, not able to progress very well maybe with your life. And you're just reignited. You're just reignited. And because there's so much fire, and we do open with the sun, for some it may feel like a trial by fire. You might be feeling like to prove your worth, you have to be tested by walking on hot coals. It'll be uncomfortable, it'll be painful, but you'll pass this trial by fire. And when you do, you'll come out the other side completely and utterly transformed. Pisces, It's a deep reading. I expect that. For those of you who are coming for specific things like love, I think if you embrace the energy that we just spoke about, all other aspects of your life will become a little bit easier. This is about a much bigger picture for you, Pisces, rather than the small details right now. So I hope, I'll leave it at that, Pisces. I hope you enjoyed that. And if this is the first time seeing my videos, then please do subscribe. And come to me on Facebook. I'm on She-Bear Tarot. I have Twitter and Instagram too. And while you're lighting it completely on fire, let's just say this, you begin with the sun. You're setting a match and killing all the things that are like dead wood now in your life. And while you're doing that, I send you a big kiss for luck, my beautiful, beautiful Pisces. And I will see you next month, and come back next month so we can see where this is progressing, where it's going. And in the meantime, I love you, and I'll see you next month. Bye.